getting the hang of unguided bomb delivery, we're going to move on to using unguided rockets. We have many rocket types loaded for this lesson, but they're all delivered in the same manner. Basically point and shoot when within range. We'll keep this lesson in active pause mode as we discuss unguided rockets. Press the spacebar to continue. Take a look at the weapon status panel in the bottom center of the front dash. You'll see that except for the most outer and inner stations, all stations are loaded with rockets, indicated by the yellow lights. In the top right corner of the panel is a dashed field that indicates the selected weapon type. Currently, no weapon type is selected. Let's select rockets now by entering air-to-ground mode. Press set. Great. Now we're in air-to-ground mode, and you can see HPC, which indicates rockets, shown in the current weapon field. You can also see green lights on the active weapon station indication. In this case, the second most outboard station on the right wing. In the lower right portion of the HUD, you are provided the name of the selected rocket type. You can see S5, which indicates the S5 rocket, which is housed in the UB-32A rocket pod. This is a rather small rocket with a high explosive warhead. Press D to select the next rocket type. The next rocket type is the S8KOM. This rocket uses the B8M1 rocket pod with 20 rockets per pod. The rocket is 82 millimeters in diameter, has a range of about 2 kilometers, and has a shaped charged warhead which is good against armor. Press D to select the next rocket type. This is the S13OF, which is held forward to a B13L rocket pod. The rocket is larger than the S5 and S8, having a diameter of 122 millimeters. It has a blast fragmentation warhead and has a range of about 2 kilometers. High explosive and blast fragmentation warheads are best used against unarmored and lightly armored targets. However, a direct hit on an armored vehicle may destroy it, depending on the size of the warhead. Press D to select the next rocket type. The S-24B is your largest rocket, with a diameter of 600 millimeters and a mass of 235 kilogram blast fragmentation warhead. Given its size, the S-24B is not housed in a pod, but rather directly attached to the weapon station. Press D to select the next rocket type. The other large rocket at your disposal is the S-25OFM with a diameter of 340 millimeters and a 190 kilogram warhead. This rocket has the longest range and can reach out to 3 kilometers. Each rocket is housed in a single launch tube. Press D to select the next rocket type. The final rocket is the S8OFP2. Like the KOM version, it's an 82 millimeter rocket with 20 rockets per pod. However, this one has a blast fragmentation warhead. Press D to return to the S5 rocket. Press the spacebar to unpause the lesson and fly through all the gates ahead. As we're en route to the target, we can practice your low-level ingress skills. Nearing the target will initiate a pop-up attack. In the middle portion of your HUD is your rocket aiming reticle. Much like the bombing reticle, this indicates where the rockets will land if you launch them at that instant. However, the range must be within minimum and maximum range value of the selected rocket type. Along the left side of the HUD is the rocket launch zone indication. The top bar indicates the maximum range of the rocket, and the bottom bar indicates the minimum safe range. The caret moves vertically along the left side of the HUD to indicate your current range based on where the rocket aiming reticle is placed. When the caret is between the maximum and minimum range bars, the range is valid. When your selected rocket type is within range, a launch authorization queue will appear on the HUD. At the next gate, we'll start our climb. Make sure your speed is above 700 kilometers per hour. As you pass through the top gate, roll the aircraft inverted and pull the nose down to the target. The target is marked with red smoke. When aligned with the target, roll the wings level while keeping the aiming reticle over the target. Press the spacebar to fire the rockets when you see the LAQ on the HUD. Nice hit on target. You can end the lesson now by pressing the escape key, or you can practice using other rocket types on the targets I've just marked with green smoke.
And I will continue the lesson by practicing on the targets marked with green smoke, as Mr. Wagner has suggested, or given the option to. As you saw, this is my first mission where I'm using the new feature of the new zoom feature with the HTC Vive, and it works well. It's very helpful because of the low resolution of these new or first generation of consumer HMDs. And to come back into my IP point to do another round, as I was talking about the new zoom feature, it's very helpful, extremely helpful. But it is disorientating, and at first it took me a little bit to get used to it. It would almost kind of give me a little bit of vertigo, but over time of practicing with it, I've gotten adjusted to it. And I suspect from reading on the forums that many people are having that same issue. The zoom in and zoom out, I think I'd rather have that than just immediately zoomed in, zoomed out without any transition. I think that would really mess me up. But it would be a good option for people who want one or the other. Now, in this video is not a tutorial of technique. This is just a video of me going through this training mission to learn the technicalities of rockets and deploying them in the world of DCS. So if you want to learn the proper techniques, this is not the video to watch. The best video I would say to watch would be Bunjap Sims. He does some very good tutorial videos and techniques and technicalities of differing aircraft. But what this video is the familiarity video, to a fan video, so to speak, to get familiar with the deployment of the rockets, with the types of Russian rockets that the Su-25T carries. And probably, I suspect, most of the other Soviet bloc aircraft. I've done this mission many times, several times over. And this is difficult. Each of these Su-25T training missions, they step you up in difficulty and in the learning process of how to do things. And I'm not sure, there's some trucks out here. I can barely see them. I barely see them now. that I really want to take out next to these rockets. And I just can't. And yep, I was probably a little too close when I fired those rockets, but hey, I think I got them on target. I think I did. From the sound of it, I did. So I made up what I call Su-25T rocket flashcards, and I put them on my knee board, and I'll bring those up here. And the whole idea, along with this mission and these flashcards, and me going over them in this mission, is to become familiar with the Eastern Bloc rockets. The S5, which is what we're deploying now. Let's start with the S5 rocket, which is housed in a UB-32A rocket pod. This is a rather small rocket with a high explosive warhead. The S5, the type, is a 57mm unguided aircraft rockets developed by Spetsnazka, forget that, MPL, Russia. Its weight is 3.86 kilograms. Its speed is 2,422.8 kilometers per hour. Its range is 3 kilometers. Its length is 0.88 meters. Its body diameter is 0.052 meters. Its warhead weight is 1.05 kilograms. And as you see, I kind of made a nifty little picture of it, since you really can't see it when it's being shot out of the rocket launcher. Let's put that away, start paying attention to my flying again so I don't stall out and crash. And I'm still on the S5, and so far I'm doing fairly well. It's kind of the best that I've done with rockets. And they're just difficult to use, mainly because it's so difficult to see the targets. The trucks and everything are just well camouflaged, especially in the HTC-5. And then they get hid underneath the pipper, which makes them even more difficult to see. And if you heard that little muffled explosion, which I don't know if that's so realistic about you hearing those type of explosions when you're in an aircraft like this, but that kind of tells me that I made a good enough hit on that particular vehicle. Now, one thing about using the zoom is when I use it, I fixate on a point and then I zoom. I don't like moving my head when I'm in zoom. That's really disorientating still, and it's just not that good. Now I'm going to go for the very hard to get.
Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор.
And I kind of lost track of what I was doing and put in with the throttle wide open on that run. Even though I fired at it and it looked like I hit the Humvees, those things are difficult to damage for whatever reason. That was way too long. And the beauty of the environment of DCS world is just becoming astounding in virtual reality. And I know this a lot of people look at this as purely a combat simulation, but you know, professional simulations, I don't know if you ever really used them and seen the graphics in them. I mean, it's kind of like going back like several generations of consumer graphics. So I'm really into, I think it'd be cool if Eagle Dynamics continues on the environmental work that they're doing, and even makes it where DCS World could become something that you would just really like to use to go sightseeing in. There's my target. Okay, now I'm using the S8KOM. The next rocket type is the S8KOM. This rocket uses the B8M1 rocket pod with 20 rockets per pod. The rocket is 82 millimeters in diameter, has a range of about 2 kilometers, and has a shape-charged warhead which is good against armor. This rocket is intended to engage modern tanks, lightly armored and soft-skinned combat material. Owing to the fragmentation effect, the rocket also inflicts damage on manpower. Let's put this away. A little bit too long again.